it's your boy Donovan. I'm trying something new out today just because I want to start making more like vlogs and process videos. I'm trying to do rug hooking because I've seen a lot of artists that I follow like on Instagram and Twitter and stuff have been getting into it, and I actually need a bath mat and a little rug for underneath my toilet. And I found some that I really liked in like this orange color palette, like orange, yellow, 70s kind of geometric style, but they were very expensive. So I was like, I should just try to make it. Okay, so I got all my stuff together. All of my yarn is in here. I got all of it from Walmart. I think I got about at least three bundles of each. So I got this like goldenrod, like yellow orange color. I got a more vibrant yellow. And then I also got this super bright orange. And I think these will look really nice together. I'm kind of nervous about this one only because it's a lot bigger than the other two. But I also was like, I like the color. And then I saw some very cool examples of rug hooking on YouTube where people use different size yarns and different material yarns so that it creates like a really interesting texture difference. I got this wooden frame that's supposed to be for like boho farmhouse type of like home decoration, and I got it from Walmart too. It came with this little string on there. I'm gonna take that boy off, and then I'm gonna see if I can remove these frames in the center. And in this Amazon box I have my staple gun to staple my fabric. I have my fabric, and oh, my actual rug hooking needles are in there as well. So I'm starting out by preparing the frame. Took that little plastic piece off of the back that would have been used to hang the frame, and then the wood pieces in the center of the frame were actually a lot easier to take out than I expected. Once I got the frame prepared, I went ahead and spread out the monk's cloth, placed my frame over top of it, and what you see me doing here is using my staple gun to fasten it to the frame. That took a lot of muscle, but I think it's taut enough now. I watched one YouTuber, when I was watching her video with tips on rug hooking, she said that you want it to be as taut as a drum, because apparently the fabric's tautness is the most important part. You don't want it to be too loose, otherwise you will have your yarn going everywhere, your loops won't be tight. And I went ahead and started with the needle punching. I drew my design on the back of the monk's cloth and then got my needle threaded. And immediately when I started, I ran into a couple of issues. My yarn was just not staying in the fabric for some reason. So I switched yarns to see if that would help the problem. It helped slightly, but it just still wasn't quite working the way that it was supposed to. I'm in my car right now because I ran into a couple of snags. Like, it would go through, but then it would leave these holes, and then my yarn wasn't catching like at all, pretty much. I tried troubleshooting with a few different YouTube videos. I did a couple Google searches. Everything that I tried just wasn't working. So I was headed to Joann's, ended up just kind of like based on instinct because I'm used to driving here, came into Michael's. So I was like, well, since I'm here, I'll just go and see what they have. So I saw a thing called Ada cloth, and I just quickly like Googled it, researched it to see if I could use that because it looked very similar to the monk's cloth. Researched it, it said absolutely do not use Ada's cloth. It does not work. So that's disappointing. I thought that at least with like the large yarn section that they have, that I would be able to find some of the needles for punch needling, but they didn't even have that. So I'm gonna go to Joann's right now. We're gonna see if they have what I need. So I found the Ada again. It's all near the yarn, so I figure monk's cloth should be close by. And I was right. I found a punch needle. There's only two, so I may take them both. When I went to Joann's, they only had 2 punch needles in the entire store at all. I just grabbed the 2 that they had because if something happens to the first one, I want to make sure I have a backup. They're smaller than the first ones that I bought. So I think if I use a smaller needle, that will solve that issue of having the holes in the fabric. I also bought some more monk's cloth just in case this fabric is done for. Another thing that I was able to get from Joann's is this large canvas. I think it's 18 by 24. It might even be a little bit bigger than that. But it was already 50% off because it has that hole in there. But then I asked them to take another 10%. And they did that for me. So that was cool. So I'm just going to take the canvas actually off of the frame and use the frame for the needle punching instead of that smaller one, just because I feel like I need a little bit more space than what I had before. And then I can always use that canvas for later for another project. This frame was perfect because it was so sturdy, a really nice size. I was able to get those pieces in the center out of there really easily as well. And now if I want to make a larger rug in the future, I can do that because I have this larger frame. Stapling the new monk's cloth from Joann's to this new frame. And I don't know if you can tell on camera, but there's just such a huge difference in the texture of this one versus the one that I bought from Amazon. You can actually see the holes in the fabric. Like the weave is just so much different. The change in fabric made such a huge difference. Finally, my yarn was catching, and I was actually able to start with the needle punching for the second time. I could not use the smaller needles that I bought from Joann's because the yarn was too big to slide through those small needles. So I just stuck with the original wooden ones that I'd bought from Amazon. Okay, day 2. I'm about to start working on this again. I just wanted to show what it looked like in the daylight because it was nighttime when I had finished this section. This is what the rug side looks like, the right side. It's what I really love about it is when I push on it, it's so dense. It's very tightly packed in there, which is exactly what I want. I don't want it to be too sparse and too spread out. This side is a lot more spread out than this area, but I can always go back and fill that in some more. Notice that while I'm doing the needle punching, I'm leaving a lot of slack at the end of my yarn. I always have like a very large pile of loose yarn. That's because if you allow the yarn to get too tight at one end, your loops won't catch and they'll just continue to fall out of the monk's cloth. This is what it looked like when I finished the first section, which was the bright orange. Then I got 2 sections finished here. And I cut out all those extra long loops that were hanging before. And this is where it's just about 80, I'd say about 80% done. And that's the right side. This is the first finished rug. I actually took this and I laid it in my bathroom to see if I liked it. Turned out I did not like that huge fat mustard yellow yarn the way that I thought I would. So I decided to pull that out. Finally showing the close-up of the actual punch needle process. After you've threaded your punch needle, it's pretty simple. All you're doing is literally punching it through the monk's cloth fabric, making sure not to raise your needle too far away from your monk's cloth. Trying to keep the tip of the needle just barely touching the surface of the monk's cloth when you lift it up back through there. That way your loops are all the same height, not too big. You never really want any hanging strings, although I really ended up with a lot of them just because I was still trying to adjust to the process. You want to make sure that your yarn stays nice and tight so that it doesn't get caught on anything and then your rug will fall apart. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I love how the final rug turned out. It's so cute. It's not very big, but it's the perfect size for me to dry my little piggies off when I get out of the shower. This definitely wasn't as easy as folks on YouTube and Instagram made it seem, but I'm really happy that I stuck with it and got through to the end of this project. Let me know down in the comments if you would ever try making your own rug, or if you would just prefer to buy one. Remember that every day is a new opportunity to commit to creative living. I'm Boy Donovan, and I'll talk to you later.